Hello, coin collectors and history enthusiasts. Welcome back to my channel. Today, first up, we're diving into a remarkable piece of American numismatic history, the wheat penny, Lincoln 1 cent from 1927, featuring light green spots, no mint mark, and in very fine condition. If you own one, or are curious about its history, design, special features, and collector's market value today, stay tuned. Let's get started. To truly appreciate this coin, we need to go back to 1927. The Roaring Twenties were in full swing, an era of economic growth, jazz music, and technological advancements. The Lincoln wheat penny had already been in circulation since 1909, replacing the Indian head cent. Designed to honor President Abraham Lincoln, it became one of the most iconic and widely collected U.S. coins. The 1927 Lincoln wheat penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as indicated by the lack of a mint mark. It was produced in large quantities, but over time, due to circulation, finding one in very fine condition can be a challenge. On the obverse, we see the famous right-facing profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This was the first time a U.S. coin featured a real historical figure. Above Lincoln's head is the phrase, "In God We Trust." To the left, liberty is inscribed, and to the right, the date 1927 appears. Since this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, there is no mint mark below the year. Flipping to the reverse, we find the two wheat ears framing the denomination 1 cent. The inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum are also present. The wheat design symbolizes prosperity and reflects the agricultural strength of the nation. One of the unique aspects of this coin is the presence of light green spots. These discolorations are typically caused by oxidation, environmental exposure, or storage conditions. While this may slightly impact its visual appeal, it doesn't necessarily devalue the coin significantly, especially if the overall details remain sharp. So what is the market value of this 1927 wheat penny today? In very fine condition, like the one we're discussing, this coin generally sells for around $182,000. However, in uncirculated condition, its value can skyrocket to $188,000 or even higher depending on demand. Coins with unique toning or exceptional luster can fetch a premium among collectors. For serious collectors, investing in graded versions by professional numismatic services can enhance both the authenticity and value of the coin. A certified MS-65 or higher specimen can easily command hundreds of dollars. That wraps up our deep dive into the 1927 Lincoln wheat penny. Despite its light green spots, it remains a valuable and historically significant coin for collectors. Do you have one in your collection? Next up, we're diving into a remarkable piece of American numismatic history, the wheat penny, Lincoln 1 cent 1910 coin, without a mint mark and with a fine condition gray layer. If you have one, stay tuned because we'll explore its history, design, special features, and most importantly, its collector's market value today. Let's get started. To understand this coin, we first need to look at its historical context. The Lincoln cent was introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person rather than Lady Liberty. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin replaced the Indian head cent and quickly became a favorite among collectors. The 1910 Lincoln wheat penny was minted only a year after its initial release. Coins produced in Philadelphia, like this one, bear no mint mark. During this period, the U.S. Mint refined the design and production methods to improve durability and consistency. Now let's take a closer look at the design of this fascinating coin. The obverse side of the 1910 wheat penny features a right-facing bust of President Abraham Lincoln. Above his head is the motto, "In God We Trust," and to the left we see the word liberty. The date 1910 is positioned on the lower right. Since this particular coin was struck in Philadelphia, it does not have a mint mark. Now, flipping to the reverse side, we find the classic wheat ears design, which gives this coin its common name, the wheat penny. The inscriptions include 1 cent and United States of America, with the Latin motto E pluribus unum above. This iconic design remained in use until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. Some 1,910 Lincoln cents, particularly those that have been in circulation for a long time or stored improperly, develop a grayish layer over time. This is often due to oxidation, environmental exposure, or the breakdown of the original copper surface. While it affects the overall appearance, collectors still appreciate these coins for their age and historical significance. So, how much is this coin worth today? The value of a 1,910 Lincoln wheat penny depends heavily on its condition. In fine condition, with wear and a grayish layer, it typically sells for around $216,000. However, if you have one in very fine or extremely fine condition, prices can range from $220,000. Higher grade versions, especially those with original luster and minimal wear, can command prices upwards of $225,000 or more. For those looking to invest in early Lincoln cents, this is still an affordable and historically significant piece. And if you have a version in near perfect condition, you might be sitting on a much more valuable asset. That wraps up our deep dive into the wheat penny Lincoln 1 cent 1910 coin. It's a beautiful piece of history, and even if it has a gray layer, it still holds great numismatic and sentimental value. Do you have one in your collection? Let me know in the comments below. Next up, we're diving into a remarkable piece of American numismatic history, the Lincoln wheat penny from 1918 with black patina and cut edges, in fine condition. If you have one of these, stay tuned because we'll explore its history, design, special features, and most importantly, its collector's market value today. Let's get started. To understand this coin, we first need to look at the period it was minted. The year 1918 was a time of change for the United States as World War I was coming to an end. The nation was shifting from war production back to a peacetime economy, and everyday items, including coins, were affected by these changes. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this series replaced the Indian head cent and became an iconic piece of U.S. currency. The 1918 version, particularly those with black patina and cut edges, has a unique appeal to collectors today. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of this historical coin. The obverse features the famous profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor D. Brenner. His image was the first real person to appear on a circulating U.S. coin. Above Lincoln's head, we see the inscription, "In God We Trust." To the left, the word liberty is struck, and to the right, the date, 1918, is clearly visible. Since this version does not have a mint mark, it was minted in Philadelphia. Now, flipping to the reverse side, we see two wheat stalks encircling the words 1 cent and United States of America. The national motto, E pluribus unum, is positioned at the top, a staple of American coinage. The wheat stalks symbolize prosperity and strength, reinforcing the economic optimism of the time. One of the most intriguing aspects of this coin is its black patina. This dark coloration often occurs due to oxidation over the years, particularly if the coin was exposed to moisture or chemicals. While some collectors prefer a bright, well-preserved copper look, others appreciate the aged, antique appeal of a black patina coin. Another distinguishing feature of some 1918 Lincoln cents is the presence of cut edges. This could have resulted from improper handling, circulation damage, or even minting errors. Such factors can affect the value of the coin, depending on their severity. So, how much is this coin worth today? The value of the 1918 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark depends heavily on its condition. In fine condition with black patina and cut edges, it typically sells for $208,000. However, if you have one in higher grades, such as very fine or uncirculated condition, Prices can range $213,000. Key factors that affect pricing include luster, strike sharpness, and any unique toning or errors. For those looking to invest in early Lincoln cents, this is a must-have addition to any collection, and if you have a version with unique toning or errors, you might be sitting on an even more valuable asset. That wraps up our deep dive into the Lincoln Wheat Penny 1918 with black patina and cut edges. It's a fascinating piece of American history and still holds great numismatic value today. Do you have one in your collection? Next up, we're diving into a remarkable piece of American numismatic history, the Wheat Penny, Lincoln 1 cent, from 1920. If you have one with gray spots and in fine condition, stay tuned because we'll explore its history, design, special features, and most importantly, its collector's market value today. Let's get started. To understand this coin, we first need to look at the era in which it was minted. The 1920s was a time of economic expansion in the United States, known as the Roaring Twenties. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series was introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor D. Brenner, this coin became one of the most popular and longest-running series in U.S. history. The 1920 edition was minted in Philadelphia, which means it does not have a mint mark. Over 310 million of these pennies were produced, making it a common date among wheat pennies, but its value depends on its condition. Now let's take a closer look at the design of this historical coin. The obverse side of the coin features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor D. Brenner. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure, breaking the tradition of allegorical representations. Above Lincoln's head, the motto, "In God We Trust," is prominently displayed. To the left, you'll see liberty, and to the right, the year 1920. Since this particular coin was minted in Philadelphia, there is no mint mark below the date. Flipping the coin over, the reverse side showcases the classic wheat penny design. The words 1 cent and United States of America take center stage, surrounded by two stylized wheat stalks, which symbolize agricultural prosperity. At the top, we have the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. This design remained in use until 1958, when the wheat penny series was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. Some of these pennies, especially those that have been in circulation for over a century, develop grayish spots over time. These spots are usually caused by oxidation, environmental exposure, or improper storage. While this does affect the overall grade of the coin, it does not diminish its historical importance. So, how much is this coin worth today? The value of the 1920 wheat penny without a mint mark depends on its condition. In fine condition with gray spots, it typically sells for $203,000. However, if you have one in extremely fine or uncirculated condition, the price can range anywhere from $207,000 or more, especially if it has no major flaws. For those looking to invest in Lincoln Wheat Pennies, this is an affordable yet historically significant piece, and if you have a near-perfect condition version, it could be worth much more in the collector's market. That wraps up our deep dive into the Wheat Penny Lincoln 1 cent 1920 coin. It's a fascinating piece of history, and even if it has gray spots, it still holds great numismatic and sentimental value. Next up, we're diving into a remarkable piece of American numismatic history, the Lincoln Wheat Penny 1919, without a mint mark, in fine condition with a dark gray shade. If you own one or are just curious, stay tuned as we explore its history, design, special features, and most importantly, its collector's market value today. Let's get started. To understand this coin, we must go back to the post-World War I era. The year 1919 was significant as the world was adjusting to peace following the Great War. In the United States, the economy was growing, new technologies were emerging, and the automobile industry was booming. During this time, the U.S. Mint continued producing the Lincoln Wheat Penny, which had been introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln Wheat Penny was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Before this, U.S. coins predominantly displayed symbolic images. The decision to feature Lincoln was a tribute to his legacy and leadership during the Civil War. Now let's take a closer look at the design of this historic penny. The obverse side of the coin features a right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Above Lincoln's head, we see the familiar motto, "In God We Trust." To the left, the word liberty is inscribed, and to the right, the year 1919 is prominently displayed. Unlike some other Lincoln pennies, this one does not have a mint mark, meaning it was minted in Philadelphia, as the Philadelphia Mint did not use mint marks at the time. Flipping to the reverse side, we see the classic wheat stalks design, which gives this coin its nickname, the Wheat Penny. The words 1 cent and United States of America are centered between two wheat stalks, symbolizing the nation's agricultural heritage. Above this, we find the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. This design remained in use until 1958, when the wheat penny was replaced by the wheat penny, replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. Many 1919 Lincoln wheat pennies have developed a dark gray shade over time. This is usually due to oxidation or environmental exposure, particularly when stored in humid conditions or handled frequently. While this affects the overall appearance, it does not always significantly impact the value, as collectors still seek these coins in fine condition. So how much is this coin worth today? The value of the 1919 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark depends largely on its condition. In fine condition with a dark gray shade, it typically sells for $210,000. However, if you have one in better condition, such as extremely fine or uncirculated, the price can range anywhere $212,000, with some rare high-grade pieces fetching even more. For those looking to invest in early Lincoln pennies, the 1919 issue is a great piece to own. While it is not among the rarest wheat pennies, its historical significance and widespread collector interest make it a valuable addition to any collection. That wraps up our deep dive into the Lincoln Wheat Penny 1919, dark gray shade without a mint mark. It's a fascinating piece of history, and even in fine condition it remains a sought-after collector's item. Do you have one in your collection? Next up, we're going to talk about a very interesting piece of American history, the 1928 Wheat Penny, with some unique characteristics. If you've ever wondered about the value of a Lincoln cent from this year, especially one that has gray dots and no mint mark, you're in the right place. So, grab your magnifying glass and let's dive into the history, design, and market value of this little coin that holds big value in the world of collectors. The wheat penny or Lincoln cent is a staple in American numismatics. These coins were minted from 1909 to 1958, and they're iconic for their wheat stalk design on the reverse side. But today we're focusing on a specific year, 1928, and to make things even more intriguing, we're discussing a coin with some unusual features that might make it even more valuable to collectors. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1928 wheat penny, let's take a quick look at the history surrounding the coin. The 1920s was a transformative decade in American history. The nation was coming out of World War I and the economy was booming. This period, known as the Roaring Twenties, was characterized by cultural change, technological innovation, and economic prosperity. However, the Great Depression was just around the corner, which would hit in 1929. It's important to understand that in the years leading up to 1928, the U.S. government was focused on creating coins that reflected national pride and history. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. Now, let's talk about the design of the 1928 wheat penny. The obverse features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. It's a simple yet powerful design that pays tribute to one of America's most revered presidents. On the reverse side, we see the wheat stalks that give the coin its nickname Wheat Penny. The inscription reads, 1 cent and e pluribus unum. This reverse design, in use from 1909 to 1958, is instantly recognizable to collectors. Now, when we talk about the 1928 coin specifically, we're looking at a coin with a diameter of 19.1 grams. The coin was struck in 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a standard alloy for most pennies of this era. Let's now discuss something that makes the 1928 wheat penny we're talking about even more special: gray dots. You might have seen these small, often subtle marks on certain coins. Gray dots, or spots, on a coin's surface can appear for several reasons, typically due to oxidation or some form of environmental interaction. They are not uncommon in older copper coins, and while they can be a natural part of the coin's aging process, they can also affect the coin's value, depending on their size and placement. One of the most significant features of this coin is the absence of a mint mark. You might be asking yourself, where is the mint mark on a 1928 penny? Well, the mint mark, if present, would appear just beneath the date, indicating which U.S. mint produced the coin. For the 1928 Lincoln penny, most were struck in Philadelphia, and this is why you won't see them. Philadelphia, unlike other mints like Denver or San Francisco, did not use a mint mark on their coins during this period. That said, this feature adds to the coin's distinctiveness. A no mint mark penny from this era is typical, but knowing the history behind the minting process can be intriguing for collectors. Now let's talk about the coin's condition. The 1928 wheat penny we're focusing on is in very fine condition. What does this mean? Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state, and very fine falls towards the higher end of the scale. A very fine coin will show some signs of wear, but the major design features remain clear. For example, the lines in Lincoln's hair, the wheat stalks, and the lettering will still be visible, although slightly softened due to wear. The overall look of the coin might show some surface wear, but still retains a lot of detail and character. Now, the big question, how much is this coin worth today? Well, the value of a 1928 wheat penny can vary significantly depending on its condition, features, and market trends. Generally, a 1928 Lincoln cent in average very fine condition, it can easily reach a value of $180,000, or even more, depending on the demand and any unique features like the gray dots we mentioned earlier. If you're lucky enough to have a coin in uncirculated or high-grade condition, its value can skyrocket to $186,000 or more. A coin with significant flaws or corrosion, though, will likely bring down the price. Collecting Lincoln wheat pennies, and especially the 1928 variety, has been a popular hobby for decades. These coins are accessible to a wide range of collectors, from beginners to experts. The demand for these coins fluctuates with market trends, but there's always an interest in pennies from specific years or with unique characteristics. Gray dots, mint errors, and coins in excellent condition are always at the top of the list for serious collectors. If you're interested in getting into coin collecting, paying attention to the condition and rarity of each coin is key to building a valuable collection. Let's quickly touch on how to properly care for your 1928 wheat penny. Coins are delicate, especially those in fine condition. It's essential to handle them with care. Always use cotton gloves to avoid getting oils from your fingers on the surface of the coin. For storage, I recommend using coin holders or capsules that are specifically designed to protect your coins from environmental damage. Keeping your coin in a dry, cool place will also help prevent further oxidation or damage to its surface. So, there you have it, the 1,928 wheat penny in very fine condition with gray dots and no mint mark may seem like just a small piece of metal, but it's full of history and value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a newbie looking to get into numismatics, understanding the history, design, and care of these coins can really enhance your appreciation for them. And who knows? That 1,928 wheat penny you find in your collection might just be worth a lot more than you think. Next up, we have a fascinating coin to talk about, one that has a rich history and continues to captivate collectors around the world. The 1,936 Lincoln wheat penny. This particular penny has some unique characteristics, including dark gray spots and the absence of a mint mark. If you're a collector or simply interested in coin history, you'll want to stick around as we dive into the story, design, features, and most importantly, the market value of this coin in today's collector's scene. Let's get started. To understand the value of the 1,936 wheat penny, we first need to look at the coin's broader history. The Lincoln cent, which is most commonly known as the wheat penny, was introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. These coins are part of American numismatic culture, and they remained in circulation for nearly 50 years, up until 1952. Over that time, the design and features of the Lincoln cent evolved, but the wheat penny design, with its iconic reverse side featuring wheat stalks, remained unchanged until the late 1957. Let's take a quick look at the historical context of 1936. By this time, the United States was still reeling from the effects of the Great Depression. The economic struggles that began in 1929 continued to affect the lives of everyday Americans, though the country was starting to recover as President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal programs began to take effect. The 1930s were a period of intense change in the U.S., and coins from this era, like the 1,936 wheat penny, tell a story of resilience and recovery. But let's now shift our focus to the design and features of this particular penny. As we examine the design of the 1,936 Lincoln wheat penny, we'll see familiar features. On the obverse side, we have the profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's likeness has been iconic for over a century and represents one of the most well-known presidents in American history. The surrounding inscriptions read, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year 1936, with the mint mark location just below the date, although in this case, there's no mint mark present. On the reverse side, we find the classic design featuring two stalks of wheat with the words 1 cent in the center and United States of America encircling the outer edge. This wheat ears design, introduced in 1109, remained in use until 1158, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. The wheat penny's reverse symbolizes both the agricultural foundation of the United States and its deep-rooted values of hard work and prosperity. One of the key features of the 1,936 wheat penny that collectors pay attention to is the absence of a mint mark. While coins struck in Philadelphia did not carry a mint mark, those minted in Denver and San Francisco were marked with a small D or S beneath the year. In 1936, however, the vast majority of Lincoln pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and because of that, they don't have any mint mark. This is a normal feature for coins produced in Philadelphia during that time period, and it makes this particular coin even more special to those who focus on collecting unmarked coins. Now, let's talk about the interesting phenomenon we see on this coin, the dark gray spots. These spots are not uncommon on older copper coins, and they're usually the result of the coin being exposed to moisture or other environmental factors over the years. When copper reacts with air and moisture, it can develop a tarnish or patina, and in some cases you'll see gray or dark spots on the surface of the coin. While these dark spots may seem like a flaw, they're actually quite common in coins that have aged naturally. Some collectors even appreciate these marks, as they give the coin a certain character and tell a story of its journey through time. However, it's important to note that the appearance of these spots can sometimes affect the value of the coin, depending on their size and placement. The more prominent and widespread the spots, the less desirable the coin might be for those seeking high-grade specimens. Another critical factor when determining the value of a coin is its condition. The 1,936 wheat penny we're discussing here is graded as very fine, which means it has visible signs of wear but still retains significant details. In this case, the main design elements, such as Lincoln's hair, the wheat stalks on the reverse, and the letters and numbers are still very clear and well-defined. You may see some slight wear, but overall, the coin is in excellent shape compared to others that are heavily worn or damaged. Coins are typically graded on a scale ranging from poor to mint state, with grades such as fine, very fine, and extremely fine in between. A very fine coin will typically show some moderate wear, but still hold most of the original design details. This makes the coin more valuable than one in lower grades, where the details have been worn down significantly. Now let's get to the most exciting part: the value of the 1,936 wheat penny. As with any collectible coin, the value can vary depending on factors like condition, rarity, and demand among collectors. For a 1,936 Lincoln wheat penny in very fine condition, the price can typically range $166,000. And if you have a penny in higher grades, say extremely fine or uncirculated, it could fetch much more, sometimes reaching $170,000 or even higher. The dark gray spots, while affecting the aesthetic of the coin, may not dramatically reduce the value unless they're extensive or very noticeable. However, many collectors find these coins with natural aging patterns still quite attractive, so the demand for them remains strong. In general, 1,936 wheat pennies are not the rarest of the series, but the demand for them has been growing, especially among those who focus on coins in high-grade or unusual conditions like this one. The market for wheat pennies is robust, especially for coins like the 1,936 Lincoln cent, which is still affordable for most collectors. While rare errors or high-grade coins can command high prices, even more common years like 1,936 continue to see interest due to their historical significance and attractive design. Collectors often focus on filling in gaps in their wheat penny collections, so finding coins in good condition from specific years can be both a rewarding and lucrative pursuit. For those looking to build a collection of Lincoln wheat pennies, it's important to understand that condition and rarity play a significant role in determining the value. While most of the coins in the 1,936 series may not break the bank, those in excellent condition or with unique characteristics, like dark gray spots or minting errors, can still be highly sought after. Now, let's talk about how to properly care for your 1,936 wheat penny. The preservation of your coin is crucial if you want to maintain its value. Always handle your coins with care. Use cotton gloves to avoid oils from your fingers touching the surface. For storage, consider using acid-free holders, coin flips, or capsules designed for long-term storage. Make sure the coins are stored in a cool, dry place to avoid further tarnishing or oxidation. So there you have it, the 1,936 Lincoln wheat penny, with its dark gray spots, no mint mark, and very fine condition. It may be the rarest coin in the world, it certainly has a unique charm, and with the right care and attention, it holds real value for today's collectors. Whether you're just starting out in coin collecting or you're looking to expand your existing collection, the 1,936 wheat penny is definitely one to consider. Next up, we have a fascinating journey into the past with a look at the 1,939 wheat penny Lincoln 1-cent coin. If you have one with a light gray shade and in fine condition, you'll want to stick around. We'll explore its history, design, unique features, and most importantly, its collector's market value today. Let's dive right in. To understand the significance of this coin, let's take a step back to 1939. The world was on the brink of World War II, and the United States was still recovering from the Great Depression. Coin production was steady at the U.S. Mint, and the Lincoln wheat penny was one of the most commonly used coins in circulation. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the Lincoln wheat penny continued to be a staple in American currency. The 1939 Lincoln cent was struck at 3 different U.S. Mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint produced the coins without a mint mark, making this version the most widely available among collectors today. The obverse or front of the coin features the iconic bust of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design has been a fixture on U.S. pennies for over a century. Above Lincoln's portrait we see the famous motto, "In God We Trust." To the left, "Liberty" is inscribed, and to the right, the year 1939 is clearly displayed. Since this particular penny was minted in Philadelphia, there is no mint mark under the date. Flipping the coin over, we find the reverse side, featuring 2 stylized wheat stalks which give the wheat penny its famous name. Between the wheat stalks, the words 1 cent and United States of America are prominently displayed. Above them, the Latin motto E pluribus unum is inscribed, meaning out of many, one. This was a standard design for the Lincoln cent from 1909 to 1958, after which the memorial reverse was introduced. One interesting aspect of some 1939 wheat pennies is the presence of a light gray tone. This discoloration is usually a result of oxidation or environmental exposure over time. While some collectors prefer pennies with their original reddish-brown luster, others find the unique patina of aged coins to be quite appealing. If your 1939 wheat penny has a light gray tone but remains in fine condition, it is still a desirable piece in numismatic circles. Now, let's talk about the value of the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny. As always, value depends on several factors, including condition, color, and rarity. In fine condition, like the one we're discussing today, this coin typically sells for around $158,000. If it's in extremely fine condition, it can fetch anywhere $162,000. For collectors seeking investment, worthy Lincoln cents, high-grade specimens certified by PCGS or NGC can sell for over $165,000 in some cases. However, even common fine condition pieces hold significant historical value and are a great addition to any collection. That wraps up our deep dive into the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny. It's a classic piece of American history, and whether you have one with a light gray shade or in pristine condition, it remains a collector's favorite. Next up, we have an exciting topic, the 1940 Lincoln wheat penny with a light gray layer, no mint mark, and in very fine condition. Is this coin valuable? What makes it special? Stick around as we dive into its history, design, unique features, and its collector's market value today. Let's get started. The year 1940 was an important time in American history. While the United States had not yet entered World War II, tensions were rising, and the country was preparing for global conflict. This was also a significant period for U.S. coinage, especially the Lincoln wheat penny, which had been in circulation since 1909. The Lincoln cent was introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The wheat penny, designed by Victor David Brenner, quickly became a staple in American currency and remained in production until 1958. The 1940 issue, despite being common, holds a special place in numismatic collections today. This profile of Abraham Lincoln, facing right. The inscriptions include, "In God We Trust" at the top, "Liberty" on the left, and the year 1940 just below Lincoln's shoulder. This particular coin lacks a mint mark, meaning it was minted in Philadelphia. Now, turning to the reverse, we see the classic wheat penny design. Two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. The Latin phrase e pluribus unum is displayed at the top. This simple yet iconic design remained unchanged for nearly 5 decades. What about the light gray layer on some of these pennies? Typically, Lincoln wheat pennies are made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving them a reddish-brown color. However, some coins develop a light gray or silverish tone due to oxidation, environmental exposure, or even chemical reactions. While this doesn't necessarily increase the value, it adds uniqueness to the coin and makes it an interesting collectible. So, how much is a 1,940 Lincoln wheat penny in very fine condition worth today? Well, because this coin had a limited mintage, the Philadelphia Mint, it is considered rare. However, in very fine condition, it typically sells for around $150,000. If you find one in extremely fine or uncirculated condition, the value can jump to $154,600 or even higher, depending on the grade. That wraps up our in-depth look at the 1,940 Lincoln wheat penny with a light gray layer and no mint mark. It may be the rarest coin out there. It holds historical significance and remains a favorite among collectors. Do you have one in your collection? Next up, we're exploring a classic piece of American numismatic history, the 1,941 Lincoln wheat penny. If you have one with green and gray spots without a mint mark and in very fine condition, stay tuned. We'll dive into its history, design, special features, and most importantly, its collector's market value today. Let's get started. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it replaced the Indian head cent and became an iconic part of U.S. currency. By 1941, the world was on the brink of World War II, and while the U.S. had not yet entered the war, preparations were underway. That year, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 887 million pennies without a mint mark, making it one of the more common years for this series. Despite its high mintage, the 1,941 wheat penny is still a sought-after coin, especially in higher grades. Collectors often look for well-preserved specimens, and unique toning or spotting can make certain pieces even more interesting. Now let's take a closer look at the design of this classic coin. The obverse features a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. Above Lincoln's head, we see the national motto, "In God We Trust." To the left is the word liberty, and to the right the date 1941. Since this coin was minted in Philadelphia, there is no mint mark below the date. Turning to the reverse, we see the iconic wheat ears, which give this penny its nickname, the Wheat Penny. The inscriptions include United States of America and 1 cent, with e pluribus unum curved along the top edge. This design remained in circulation until 1958, when the memorial cent replaced it. Over time, some 1,941 wheat pennies developed green or gray spots due to oxidation and exposure to environmental factors. The green spots are often caused by copper reacting with moisture and forming copper carbonate, while gray spots can indicate general toning or corrosion. While this does impact the overall grade of the coin, some collectors appreciate these natural patinas as part of the coin's history. So, how much is this coin worth today? The value of the 1,941 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark depends on its condition. In very fine condition, with some wear and minor spotting, it typically sells for $146,000. However, if you have one in uncirculated condition, the price can range anywhere $150,000. Certified high-grade examples with full red luster can fetch even higher prices, sometimes exceeding $156,000. That wraps up our deep dive into the 1,941 Lincoln wheat penny. Whether yours has green and gray spots or is in pristine condition, it remains a cherished piece of American history. Do you have one in your collection? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell for more coin content. Thanks for watching and happy collecting.